good. Very good morning. Well, not so good morning anyway, because I'll tell you why in a minute. But anyway, to everyone, good morning to everyone in the world, wherever you are. It's mostly good morning in down under here in Australia and in New Zealand. Where Darren, are you in New Zealand? No, you're not. You're not. You're in New
No,
South
we're not.
Wales.
Yeah,
um,
I mean, Sydney.
you're in Sydney. That's right. Yeah, so mostly from us, it's a good morning because it's morning down under, and of course in the UK it's good night and good evening to most other parts in the world on that side of town. But guys, we are back. The Red Devil Addicts are back. The reason we didn't do a midweek show was because we wanted to sort of give you guys a little bit an extra time to actually see if we've actually made any signings. There's been a lot of talk, and the most importantly, the Europa League, where we will be playing in Europe's second most prestigious club game in Europe. That is the Europa Cup, which we made after a horrendous season last season. But the draw has been made, so we are going to talk about that. We've got some news that's coming in about Anthony. We're going to update you about Anthony. There's still lingering news about Frankie De Jong, and a host, and of course we're going to talk a little bit about the United's game early kickoff today. It's actually 9:30, boys, for us. It's an early kickoff for us here in Australia, and we're going to talk a little bit to Alex Telles, and we're going to ask him how has it been in Spain, because in the Europa League we are going to play one of the games in Spain. So, guys, Manchester United is going to Spain to play Real Sociedad, and we're going to stop by and say, hello, Alex Telles. Can you introduce us to all your senoritas now?
Okay.
Anyway, guys, let's get into it. Fantastic to see you all. I'm here with Jürgen, Darren, and our good man, Mr. Alex Telles. Good morning, boys. How you guys been today?
Yeah.
Really good,
Yeah.
thanks.
Good morning.
Ah,
Yeah, good, thanks.
fantastic. So we got a lot of things to get on to. The first thing I wanted to sort of address is the Europa League. I want to get some thoughts in it in the group games that we've sort of went the opponents that we that has been paired against us. I mean, of course, it's going to be the hardest game. I think it's going to be the Real Sociedad game. I mean, I think we played them the last time, innit? Didn't we play them the last time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
last season I think it was.
Last season was it? Was it
No.
the season before with when?
Yeah,
with,
season 4. So yeah.
Correct. So that's a pretty key. So we pretty much, of course, most of the players would have known Real Sociedad because we played home and away when Solskjaer was in charge. So I want to get some thoughts on it. Darren, can you give us some thoughts about the draw that was made yesterday? The two other places that we're going to, Cyprus and Moldova. But let's get your thoughts on our opponents. You've been doing some research about them, so just want to hear some insights on it. What do you reckon our chances are?
Yeah, I think it's quite a decent draw. I think it could have been a lot worse. I think looking at the travel, and I think Spain is not too far, so that's quite a nice. It's like an hour from England, so that's quite a nice trip. Moldova, that's a bit of a long trip, so hopefully we'll get that game. Maybe afterwards we haven't got a big game or even an away game. Hopefully we have like a home game after that, after traveling there.
Yep.
And Cyprus, Cyprus as well. But we've actually never been to Cyprus or even Moldova. So it'd be quite nice for the fans back home to actually visit some new places, play some new teams. I actually found out as well. Do you know Neil Lennon, the ex-Celtic manager?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually the manager of I can't pronounce the team now. The Moldova team. He's
Right.
actually their manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something I didn't know actually. So yeah, and he did pretty well at Celtic. So I'm sure he'll have his team well organised. And
Yep.
yeah, I think it'll be. I'm sure we'll do our research over the next few weeks to get like more information on them.
Yep.
But it's a group we should get out of. You know, it's obviously depending on like how you know what the team he plays. I'm sure he'll make some changes during the week.
Yep.
But for me, I'm pretty happy. I think we'll get out of it quite comfortably, hopefully.
Yep. I mean, look, I'm looking at the groupings at the moment. So we're in Group E. So we play Real Sociedad and we play Sheriff. How do you pronounce this? Tiraspol. Sheriff Tiraspol and Omonia. I haven't heard of this.
They actually beat Sheriff. They actually beat Real Madrid last year. I don't know if you remember that.
That's right.
They beat them home and away. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I heard about that. That's right. That's right. So that's going to be a quite of an interesting game. That's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah.
And looking at all the other teams in all the other groups, well, there's about 8 groups. Arsenal's got a pretty tricky group as well. They've got PSV. They've got Bodo Glimt and SC Zurich. I would say pretty much that's also a very tricky group. But looking at all the other teams, I mean, look, again, I don't want to be underestimating anyone here. But the other teams that are there, of course, you've got AS Roma. They won the Conference League last year, and they've got our good buddy, old Mourinho, you know. I think, was it Jürgen or was it Mervin who predicted that there might be a United Roma final? That'll be pretty interesting. And that's where the danger is, isn't it? Because Mourinho is pretty good at finals. He's I think most of the finals that he's been in, he's won them. I think so. I think he's probably had 1 or 2 losses, but that's I need to really dig deep into that as we do when we start to preview the Europa Cup games and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's the only manager to win. I think there's like the 3 major competitions. You know, the Champions League, UEFA Cup, Europa League, and then obviously the Conference League.
Correct.
I think he's probably won the Super Cup as well. You know, the one that they play at the beginning of the season.
Correct. The curtain raiser for European football. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So he's he'll be proud of that. You know Mourinho, who loves having his records. So and I'm sure if he plays Manchester United, like even if it's not in the final, I'm sure he'll look forward to that and he'll want to get some revenge.
Yeah. Oh, definitely revenge. Let's get some thoughts from Jürgen. Jürgen, what do you think, bro? Are you still going to predict Roma?
Yeah, Mervin, but it will be a good final.
It'll be scintillating.
I think it's a good draw for us. It'll but at the same time, when we underestimate teams and we expect to win, sometimes we can face surprises. And if we get these midweek games, we can sort of test out our squad as well, give people a run. But ultimately, we want to make sure that we get out of the group on top comfortably, which I think we will this time. And then that way we're sort of given a better draw for the next round, the knockout stages.
Yep. Alex, Mr. Teles, you got a Spanish team. Let's see how many Spanish teams are there. There's only 1 Spanish team. That's 2. Real Betis is also there. So yeah, so Sevilla, I think you're playing Champions League football, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't Alex Teles playing Champions League football? So you've got an upgrade there, isn't it? Honest.
Yeah, not all of us can get into Champions League. Hey.
I like that.
Oh jeez, I'm quite happy with the draw actually.
Right.
I reckon we'll get through quite easily, as Darren said, and yeah, I'm hoping. It all just depends how Ten Hag puts out the team and how we play against all the teams away from home. And yeah, I think we're going to get through quite easily, which is good.
Yep.
I'm still buzzing about the Liverpool win.
Oh, don't we all? All of us are still having a beautiful day. It's a beautiful week, I must say, because that's just gone down perfectly. Have you all seen the memes that were coming out? How
Yeah.
Van Dijk was doing a dance, and James Milner was posing like he was literally posing on the field there, like said, "Look at me, how beautiful I am," you know. So there was a lot of memes that was going out on social media that was really, really
Yeah.
funny. But I think reality has to kick in because we've got a very important game today. We're
Yeah.
playing Southampton, and this is where the team should be all fired up, buzzing from the Liverpool win, because that's a great morale booster. Playing at Old Trafford and beating one of the actually not even one, I would say the fiercest rival in the world of football. I don't think you get any games bigger than Manchester United versus Liverpool. I think they would outsell Real Madrid versus Barcelona as well. And I think that's in world football, Man United versus Liverpool is the biggest. I personally think that's my view. But I think that's a big morale booster for the lads. The good news is Casemiro has finally got his number. It's Paul Scholesy old number, and Bruno Fernandes wore that as well for a couple of seasons until he took the number 8 jersey from Juan Mata. So that's going to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward and hoping that he will start today against Southampton. But before we go into talking a little bit about that game, because that's what we're going to probably do a bit later in the show. We actually want to sort of touch point, and then we're also definitely going to preview the lineup before the lineup gets released. We're going to talk a little bit about the game, which is tonight in Australia. It's at 9:30 p.m. So we'll probably go live at 8 p.m. Australian time. So tune in to us. Don't forget to tune in to us at the YouTube channel, the Red Devil Addicts YouTube channel, and you'll be able to catch some of our thoughts about the game, previews of the game. And we've also had our own very signing. The Red Devil Addicts have signed somebody. Unfortunately, he's not here yet because he's probably in bed, getting ready to go down to St. Mary's tomorrow. Our good mate, Mr. Charan, we would like to welcome him to our next show. He's going to be coming on. The good thing about it is he lives literally 5 minutes away from the ground, and he showed us that view that all of us would love to have. Oh my God, that's going to be brilliant. I think we're going to have a great time having him on the show. He's going to be there doing a lot more crossovers to us, talking to us, giving us insights as well. Darren, thanks a lot for putting out your spies out there. You're the little spy that spies everywhere and gives us all the juicy gossips and all the juicy news. Yeah. But yeah. I'm hoping to welcome Charan later in the later show, just before kickoff. He will be making his way to St. Mary's. That's what he told me. He said most likely he is going down. He is a season ticket holder, a big United fan as well. He's been there for a long time. He goes to, I would say, at least 99.9% of the Man United games. As to all what we are, we would also do if we were in his position. If we were in the UK and in Manchester, we would be going to every single game. We won't bother about anything else in the world. We'll just be focusing on Manchester United and just going for the game. But as I said, look, that's going to be really great. Hopefully, we'll get Charan on later. But I want to talk a little bit about now that we've gone through the Europa League, which is great. Now, one of the things I think, and I want to get a little bit of thoughts from you guys before we move on to the transfer news, is do you guys see Manchester's best position to qualifying for the Champions League next season would be using the Europa League route? What do you guys think? Jürgen, we'll start with you.
I think that definitely has to be seriously considered, given that if it's a win-win, because you win it, so we get a trophy as well as an automatic qualification. But I think going as well as qualifying through the Premier League, it feels good when you're top four in the Premier League, because top four in the Premier League also might mean top four in Europe, because it's the most competitive league.
Yep.
You want to get to that position so that we can build on it. So next
Yep.
season that we look at doing better. So I think if we finish like mid-table, and then end up winning the Europa League, it doesn't feel as good for me
Yep.
personally.
Yep.
So I'd like to be able to qualify through the Europa route as well as get in top four.
Yep. I think that's a brilliant analysis, and I think that for me that is the same case. Darren, let's get your thoughts on it, Darren.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Jürgen there. Yeah, I think getting a trophy will boost the confidence of the team, and obviously the bonus as well, getting in through the get through the Champions League. So yeah, that's very important. But again, yeah, I think if we need to make sure we get top four, because if we finish 5th or 6th, it will feel like it's a downgrade from last year. So I think we could take it serious. I think in the group stage we could probably play some of the youngsters, maybe freshen it up a bit. But when it gets to the later stages, then that's when I think we might have to start playing the big guns. It will challenge our squad. Obviously, we're going to talk about transfers later, and I think that's why we need to buy more players, because we need a big squad, because we've got 4 competitions to play for, and we want to go as far as possible in all of them. I think a trophy this season is going to be very important. As I said, to get that confidence in the squad. So just hopefully we can make a good start, and then get top 4 as well.
Yeah, that's. I mean, rightly pointed out, Darren. Like we're in 4 competitions, and that we really need to take seriously, and we really need to push this. Now, you're incorrect. As you mentioned, we need a big squad, because don't forget, a lot of people has forgotten the fact that this year's a bit out of the ordinary, because the World Cup is in December. So there's going to be a lot of football for a lot of these players, and the Premier League goes into a hibernation for the month the World Cup is being played. So most of these players will be trying to impress the managers. Sometimes some of them will be putting in a lot of shifts just to get into the international team. So that's where I feel that there could be some danger if we don't have a big squad, because all of them are trying to, and I think, what I think the other day we were all analyzing the game, and one thing I've also picked up on when I went back and sort of watched and analyzed the whole Man United Liverpool game, I noticed one thing which quite a few journalists picked up on as well, and mentioned it, was Van Dijk was for Liverpool was really worried about going into 50-50 challenges, and really trying not to go into a challenge, because he doesn't want to miss his opportunity to play for Holland in the World Cup, and that's what frightens me a little bit, especially with defenders. They would be in a 50-50 challenge. A lot of them are going to start pulling out of challenges because they do not want to get injured at the wrong time and then sit out the World Cup. So I think that's going to be a very key challenge for us. I think in the defensive department, we still have Maguire and Lindelof on the bench, and not forgetting we have Phil Jones. Yeah, Phil Jones. Yeah, Phil Jones is still
Absolutely.
here. Yeah, so he's still here. Eric Bailly has just gone to Marseille on loan. He's just signed a deal with Marseille on loan for a season-long loan. So in that, I think if I remember correctly, when you go on loan, and the club has the ability or has the right to call you back if they need to. Is that correct, Jürgen?
Yes.
Yep. So
But
I think
not all loan agreements, so it's actually inbuilt in the agreement. So
Right.
I would say this, it's also for the Marseille, they would have an option to purchase at the end of the term.
Right. 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 So that's another key factor which we need to look at very, very, very seriously. Alex, tell us. I want to get some thoughts from you on the competitions. He's just frozen out. Alex, tell us. We've just got you frozen. Can you unfreeze yourself? No, I think we've lost him, but he'll come back. But it's good to have him on screen anyway. Okay, guys, let's get down into the transfer market since we've touched on Eric Bailly. There's been a lot of speculation and a lot of news about Anthony, especially when he actually came out and posted a selfie on social media with his brother watching the Liverpool game. Man United versus Liverpool game. I think a lot of people went into a frenzy thinking that we're definitely going to confirm Anthony as a signing. We're pushing really hard for him, and what I understand is yesterday there was a report in the Sun newspaper, the Sun UK. Someone actually got a video clip of a fan that actually met Richard Arnold. He was actually getting into his vehicle to leave Old Trafford, and the fan actually asked him, Mr. Arnold, are we signing Anthony? And he acknowledged and if we look at the video, which I shared with all of you guys earlier, it seemed that he had confirmed Anthony through his reaction. I don't know how far that is true, or was it just to spike the media frenzy? Is it something that he just did just to sort of irk followers on this story and keep people interested, like which is in effect trying to sort of again shift the Glazers out protest? Because if you guys notice, this whole week we've not had any talk about Sir Jim Ratcliffe. We've not heard anything about the Glazers out. Of course, we knew about the big protest that they had at Old Trafford during the Liverpool game, but so far it's gone quiet. Now, I don't know whether that was just a strategy used to paper on the cracks and sort of get fans excited, but I think at 3 o'clock in the morning, we had a tweet from Fabrizio Romano. He said that Ajax has just rejected United's £76 million bid, which is about close to about 90 million euros. No, 90 million US dollars. I think in euros it's about what, 88 million euros or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. They've had that bid rejected, but there's a story that's coming out now, which I'm just looking at. There's a story that just came out literally about 10 minutes ago. I'm just trying to, 1 second, I'm just trying to get the story. This is what has been said about Anthony. So apparently, I'm just reading this to you guys. Yeah, so Anthony has actually made it clear that he's begging Ajax to let him leave. So yeah, so they've rejected a £76 million bid, and Anthony has also stated that he's actually trying to push Ajax to accept the offer. I don't know. I want to get some thoughts on it, Darren. What do you think about this? Anything that you have sort of spotted, or anything that you've sort of dug up a little bit and talking to some of your sources?
Yeah, I think if we've left it so late in the transfer window, it's always like not a good thing, because people are like, they know we're desperate for signings, so they're always going to ask for more money. This should have been sorted. Anthony has been one of our top targets for the whole summer, and we should have got this done, sooner than the window. And this is what happens when you don't get your business done from the start. We all know he wants to leave, and I think he will come. I think we're just going to have to pay, probably over 100 mil, which is, the way the market is nowadays. You pay over the odds for some players, and it's my worry is because we're going to have to pay probably over 100 million, we're not going to be able to prove the rest of the squad. Because I think I always said I think we need Anthony, but I also think we need to get another maybe one or two players. And I just think now this could actually affect our chances of buying a right back or another centre midfielder, or even like another striker. Because as well, Anthony's not really a proper forward as well, and I still think we need that proper target man who's going to go and get you 20 to 25 goals.
Yep.
And especially now with Martial seems to keep getting injured, and you can't rely on him. We'll see what happens with Ronaldo, but if Ronaldo leaves, which I think he could do by the end of next week,
yep,
we're going to be very short up top. And so I would actually rather go and get an out and out forward, really. But it's who can you get who's out there you can get right now, because no one's going to want to sell their top players right now because it's so close to the end.
Correct.
And they'll sell them, but they're going to be going for twice as much as they would 2 months ago.
Correct.
So I think we will get Anthony, and I think he'll definitely improve the squad. As I said last week, I think it will improve Rashford and Sancho. But it's just the way the market is nowadays. You're just paying stupid money. I even thought 80 million or whatever it was too high, but now we're going to pay even probably more than that. The good, we know he wants to leave, so that's probably the good thing. We know he's it's not like
he's pushing for a transfer.
Ajax are not saying he's not for sale. They just want more money for him, and we will probably pay it in the end. It's the way it is nowadays, isn't it?
Yep. That's a very, very, very interesting point. And this is again goes back to the fact of what Jürgen was telling us last week. He was telling us that we basically leaving our transfers so late, and we get pressured into buying players and paying over the top money, and then giving them stupid wages, and then when it comes to trying to sell them probably after 2 or 3 seasons later on, we are having a problem, as you can correctly what Jürgen said. He pointed out at Aaron Wan-Bissaka. They were trying to sell him, but nobody wants to go. No one wants to touch him. I mean, he's a great player and stuff like that from a defensive point of view, but nobody wants to touch him at this point of time because of his wages. We're never going to get as near to 50 million pounds selling him to any club that wants to buy him, let alone anyone wants to pay his wages, because they don't think that he's worth that wages. So we are stuck with that kind of thing. So going in for Anthony now, there was one interesting thing that I was talking to Mervyn the other day, and we were actually analyzing the stats between Anthony and Gakpo. Now we know that PSV are out of the Champions League. They now, I would say, Gakpo would be a reasonable target for us. At 42 million is what I'm hearing. 42 million pounds is a steal. But one of the things that I've noticed about Gakpo that me and Mervyn were talking about, he's pacey. He can dribble. He's got a lot of movements within the ball. But one little problem I find with Gakpo, he's predominantly a right-footed player. Now, it can work well for us. Yes, we're getting another right-footed player, but now, is he going to be a right-footed player that's going to play on the right, or is he a right-footed player that's going to play on the left? That's another question. Now, what I have seen the biggest difference between Gakpo and Anthony is Anthony is more versatile. He can play in both feet. So between him and Jadon Sancho, who can actually play on both sides of the wings, but of course Jadon is much more stronger on the right-hand side. but he can still play on the left. So Anthony is seen like a pretty much a Mason Greenwood sort of a replacement. So that's what makes him, I would say, in terms of his stats, much more superior compared to Gakpo. So, I mean, because we've left it so late, we're gonna, if in order for us to get this deal done, well, look, we transfer windows coming up really soon, and don't forget we're going to go live for that as well. Um, this is where clubs are going to be like, okay, you want him, you pay this amount, and we're going to have to cave to get him. As you said, Darren, we don't have any more firepower up front. If we lose Ronaldo next week, because the rumors are pretty much stacking up on two teams. One of them, I mean, the Marseille one was written off. That even came out that he was going to join Marseille together with Eric Bailly. But the one that's heating up is the Sporting Lisbon. He's going to go back to Sporting Lisbon and play for Sporting Lisbon. And it makes sense because his mum has been saying that she's come out in the media a couple of times, and she said she would really like to see her son go back to Sporting Lisbon for nostalgic reasons, and also the fact that that's where he started his career in. But today's news, they're saying that Napoli is actually going after him. That's going to be an interesting thing. So here again, if he does accept that deal and he goes, now what happens then? And I think if I'm reading it correctly, Martial is injured for today again, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, he's injured.
Yeah. See, Achilles. See, this is the problem. He came back from a hamstring injury and now in an Achilles problem. So again, we are short up front now. Now I would think that he will start. He will start Elenga today. I think he will start Elenga. But well, who knows? We will leave that to later. Now, I just wanted to get some thoughts on who else do you guys see that United would probably get in? Jürgen, what do you think, bro?
Yeah, just to touch back on the Anthony deal. I think the Anthony deal, I think it'll go through. But if it does go through, I think it's going to be a bit of a domino effect. I think I've heard and read that Anthony Elanga will be let go. He'll be put out on loan, and the interested party is currently Everton. So, you'll be signing a young player, relatively young player, but then getting rid of one as well. Not too sure, if that's going to work.
That's a good move. Yeah, good move. Yeah, whether it's a good move or not. Yeah.
He's been playing well, and he's got a lot of promise as well. And on top of that, he's not going to be anywhere near what Anthony's going to be on in terms of wages. Now, another thing that I read that I thought was quite interesting is re-signing Memphis Depay.
Yes.
That was, I sort of, I was a bit stunned with that. I'm not sure how far that's true, but I still think we need a solid right back replacement and an out-and-out goal scorer. Like Darren said, I think we need someone like a Ruud van Nistelrooy who promises, 25 goals a season, just there, right time, good game knowledge, just in around the box, and just put them away.
Yeah, we all know that's what we needed, but the problem is where are we going to go and look for? Nobody's out there. Sesko, we were pushing for Sesko, but Sesko's gone. Yeah, I know there are a couple of people like Icardi and all of those guys, but I don't want to go out and simply spend for a goal scorer. That's just literally not going to work, because we have done that in the past. The only goal scorer that we've actually had that actually worked for us, and it was the only signing in the post Fergie era that actually signed and actually did well, was Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Everyone else failed. Now the Memphis, going back to what your point, Jürgen, Memphis Depay. Now I don't know. He since he's left Manchester United, he's sort of built a very different character. He's gone to, when we sold him to Lyon, he did pretty well. Went to Barcelona. He's done pretty well for them. He scored a lot of goals here for, I think, 176 goals or 76 goals for 176 appearances or something like that. One of those things that I was reading somewhere. I don't know. Don't quote me on the actual numbers, but it was something like that. And he's done pretty well for a winger. He's not an out striker, but I think we were prematurely we sold him because what I read was he had a fallout with Van Gaal. Van Gaal signed him, and he had a fallout with Van Gaal, and that's it. He was literally left out of the FA Cup final, where we beat Crystal Palace. He was completely left out, and then of course when Mourinho came in, he only played 4 games, and then he was sold. So I don't think. I mean, we bought him with a lot of promise, and especially for what he did for Van Gaal in the World Cup. But we never saw that real Memphis Depay. And what I also read a couple of years ago, was it? Oh no, I think it was last season. Memphis Depay actually had because Tottenham was trying to bring him back to the Premier League, and apparently he's got a clause in his contract that United have a buyback option at a certain percentage. Hence the reason they were offering 8 million to buy him back. And they can trigger that clause if they need to. So, but I still really don't know. Now, are we doing that because we are really, really out of options, or is that a strategy? Because again, look, it could be. I look at it as could be because he failed miserably because he just couldn't hack it with the managers, or the managers didn't wanted to play a particular style, and he just couldn't fit into the system. But the question is, will he solve our problems? I don't think so. Correct. What Darren and Jürgen said is spot on. We need an out-and-out striker, but at the end of the day, we don't. There's no one else in the market at the moment. I mean, I know that Chelsea's going for Aubameyang, but he's 30. 34, 35, already an age striker. We should be going for someone younger. That's why I was hoping that we would have gone for Sesko, because there was a lot of promise in him, but he ended up signing for RP Leipzig. See, this is the problem again. We were too slow in reacting. Darwin Núñez was a clear example. We wanted him. Ten Hag wanted him. Liverpool just came in and swooped in and said, no, we'll offer the money, and they took it. And they literally did the deal in one day. They made a decision in one day. What I'm hearing from my sources is they did the decision in one day, and they took him away from Manchester United's shoes. They literally swooped him under his shoes. And that's where the problem is. I don't want us to go and spend that money on an out-and-out striker at this point of time when there's nobody in the market that's actually proven to be to play that role. I think the Anthony signing should go through for one simple reason. If he wants to play a 4-3-3 and the front three, if we can get, unfortunately, I've got to make this reference. I don't like making this reference, but at the end of the day, we have to, because it's a fact. Yeah. When Firmino, Salah, and Mane played together as a front three, there were not really an out-and-out strikers, within the three of them. But they played as a unit from a striking. They were known as the best front three, scoring hell of a lot of goals, and they were the dangerous. Whenever any teams came up against them, you knew there was a goal in either three of them. And now they've just replaced Mane with Diaz, Luis Diaz. And then, of course, they brought in Darwin Núñez as well. Yeah. So they've changed their striking division. And it slowly will take shape again. But they went with only now they've actually signed an out-and-out striker, which is in Darwin Núñez. But before this, they played successfully from an attacking flair position style attack. So I think probably this is where I would see United going and pushing to get Anthony in this season at least, to play that sort of football. So now we will probably have Nunes. Sorry, not Nunes. I don't know why. I've always loved Nunes, but unfortunately he's gone to the Fools. Sorry, the Liverpool. But the one thing that they're going to start to where I find that we are going to have a problem if rumors are correct, what Jürgen mentioned about Ilenga going on loan. I would think I would rather keep him at the club, especially if Ronaldo is leaving and we're buying Anthony. I would give all of the younger guys to play in the Carabao Cup to get a little bit more experience. Drive them to say that cup is yours. It's for you guys to put in the shift to win us that cup, right? And this is where you utilize your youth setup mixed with some experienced players, like what we did in preseason, like Zidane Iqbal, we had Medri, we had Tahith Chong. All of those guys played really well within the space of preseason. Now, these are the guys that needs a lot of experience, and in the only way we're going to give them that experience is we're going to set up a team that's going to play the youngsters in all of these smaller competitions, like the Carabao Cup, which is starting in September, and give them that experience, that exposures, because you never know. We might be able, if we give them enough game time, there might be another Rashford, another Mason Greenwood within, and we've seen the likes of them play during preseason. That's a lot of signs, but we need to give them a lot more game timing. So we've got no choice. I think we need to push forward into buying Anthony. I'm really hoping we do. That would sort of, help us from a perspective of the way we want to set up, because he's a two-footed player, and I know that Ten Hag loves two-footed players. That he wants basically the left and the right guys to interchange, to confuse defenses. And that's one thing you remember Ferguson used to love doing that. He'll play Ronnie Johnson sometimes as CDM. He'll play Wes Brown, who's a centre back, to play at right back. And then we had John O'Shea, who could play right back, centre back, and CDM. We've seen
and keeper sometimes.
And keeper sometimes, correct? Yeah, and Fergie's done that. So that's sort of what I call a utility player that can play. And apparently Ten Hag really likes that kind of sort of thing. But I'm also reading here one thing that I think Ten Hag's doing, which is really good to see, and I'm really loving it, because he's one of my favorite players, and I really love him to bits. We got a chance to meet him, Mr. Rafael Varane. They're saying that Ten Hag's actually put Rafael Varane on a special training program to help him sort of become better in terms of managing his injuries. Fergie did that with Van Persie when we brought Van Persie in, and he also did it to a certain point with Ruud van Nistelrooy, because remember when we were about to sign Ruud van Nistelrooy, it was back of an injury that he had that was quite serious, that a lot of specialists, a lot of pundits were very concerned that Manchester United were going to buy a player that's going to be injury prone. But my God, we trusted Ferguson's evaluation and how good a player he was. He was what you call fox in the box. Yeah. So I think that's going to be key. We'll bring you more on the transfer side of things as it comes in, because there's only been the two news that we've been watching very closely is, of course, the Anthony deal, and also, of course, there has been rumors on the Gakpo. But
sorry, Joel, just to add on as well.
Yeah.
I think the successful signing of Anthony will also make a big statement to the rest of the teams in the Premier League, because a lot of teams have been sort of underestimating us, our power, our capabilities of signing big name players.
Yeah.
And it also shows that we want to win. We're here to win.
Yep.
So I think that would, increase the confidence in our changing rooms, as well as make a really big statement that, hey guys, we're here to win this.
Yeah. Yep. I
Yeah,
think
just-
you're right. You're right, Jürgen.
Yeah, I'll just follow up from that as well. Yeah, I think because when we're making these signings that are like in their 30s, teams look at that and go, well, that's not really going to be anything for long term. That's why I think this Anthony deal is a good signing, just because it will make he's going to be there for the next, hopefully, 6-7 years. So we're actually planning for the future, which is something we've not been doing
For a long time.
the last for a very long time. I trying to think of the last player, Fernandez. We bought him obviously, but we haven't really bought many players who are long term future. We're all buying these short term. So that's
Correct.
I think that's why I'll be happy with that. Actually look like we're planning for the future.
That's where you come into play, Darren. Because you're our secret spy and our secret journalist or secret editor, actually, our news desk editor, is to go and whisper into our former keeper, Mr. Van der Sar, to say, hey, come on, man, we need Anthony. Just sign the deal. We're paying you above odds money here. Help us out, man. Help a fellow United out. Come on, Darren, we need players, man.
When I go back to Europe, I'll try and get onto that.
Hey, we don't have much time. We're gonna send you on a flight tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
In the morning. Yeah.
Anyway, that was that's for now. That's the transfer rumors that's surrounding Manchester United. But let's get into a little bit about tonight's game, which is a big game for Manchester United against Southampton. We're playing away, and I'm hoping that this will be a really good game, because the fact is, coming back from a victory like against Liverpool, everyone must be buzzing. Everyone must be literally fired up for this game. And I think, what I'm hearing is Casemiro may start the game or may come on as a substitute, but he will be named in because he's got his work permit approved. They formally announced him as the new signing for Manchester United, the number 18 shirt that was worn by great legend Paul Scholes. And so, well, I think he will start at St. Mary's, or if not, at least be on the bench, and it will be good. But I want to get some thoughts a little bit about who do you think United's going to start with? Are we going to go? Are we going to revert back from a defensive to Maguire being the captain to come back in, or are we going to stick with Varane and Dinas, who did fantastic, fabulous, and of course Malacia on the left back? What do you think, Darren? Who's going to start today?
Yeah, I'll go on to that in a minute, but just to go about the game itself, I think this is going to be a completely different game to the Liverpool game. For me, it's going to be more of a challenge, because we're going to be the ones with the ball this time, and we're going to have to break down Southampton. Last week, Liverpool had most of the ball, and we kind of played some good football, but we played on the counter attack quite a lot as well. But this is going to be a game where we're going to have to, and this is the games we struggle sometimes, because we have to try and break teams down, and we have to, play as we did last week. The confidence will be high, but we just have to make sure we build on that from last week, because it's okay going to beat Liverpool, but then if you don't go follow it up and beat Southampton, there's that last week's result was nothing. We're off a great. It was a great result. We had a good week, but now we have to put our focus on all on that game. It's an early kickoff as well, and we don't normally do well in the early kickoffs. 12:30. It's obviously a away game as well. I think reading some of the players in the past, the early games they don't like, because they have to eat pasta and stuff at 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's not something they really like doing. So it's Southampton have had an okay start. I think they've got 4 points out of 9. So they're not, on paper we should be beating them.
Yep.
But as we know, we always seem to don't do very well against the lower teams. Going to the team anyway. I think I think Martial's injured. I would have played him, but he's obviously injured now. So I
Yep.
think I would go with the same team, but I think Casemiro's had a 4 weeks of training. So if that's the case, I'd probably just bring him in for McTominay.
Yep.
But it's actually the first time this season where the team kind of fixed itself.
Yep.
I think the last couple of weeks we've been like, it's been hard to choose a team because no one's really been on form.
Yep.
But I think after last week, I think the goalkeeper, the defence is a must. I really hope there's no changes to that. Why would you change it? We did really well last week. We were solid. Unlucky not to get a clean sheet. So yeah, I would definitely keep the back four. I think the only one I would question is would it be Casemiro or McTominay? I think everyone would say Casemiro. It just depends on how much training he's done.
How fit he is.
Yeah, and McTominay, a bit unfair because he did well last week, but I think McTominay, that's kind of his games actually. I think McTominay will actually play in the big games this season because he is a big game player like most of the time. So I can see him playing actually in most of the big games. But I think against teams like Southampton, I think we can go a bit more attacking. So yeah, I would go with basically the same. I think the question would be again, would it be Elanga or Ronaldo? For me, I think Elanga had a decent first half last week.
Correct.
I think he
almost scored.
One thing I like about Elanga, his end product's maybe not the best. Something he's got to improve on. One thing I love about him, he actually gets in behind the defence, and that's how the first goal was created, to Sancho. So yeah, I think this would be quite unfair to swap him for someone like Ronaldo, who's not really done anything really yet. And yeah, so for me, it's the same team, apart from possibly Casemiro coming in. And yeah, I just want to see the same as last week, really. We've got to start well, and just build that, go on a running streak now. You don't want to win here and then a loss and a win. You kind of want to go have a 4 or 5 game wins now and build confidence.
Yep, perfect. Jürgen, what are your thoughts, bro? Who do you think was going to start today?
I'm almost going to second Darren because the first 40 minutes of the half against Liverpool, we started with very high intensity, hunger, grit. We're working really hard, so I don't see the reason of chopping and changing the team yet. Only thing is Southampton will allow us to have the ball. We'll have to be a bit more creative, and we have to put away the chances that we get. Again, Elanga does do well in terms of dribbling. He attracts some fouls. We'll get free kicks in good positions. Up front for Southampton, though, they're quite physical. Che Adams, he runs around a lot, and I think if Martinez can start the way he did against Liverpool, where he shows his presence, the physicality, I think we'll be good. I think we'll come away with a very comfortable win today.
Perfect. Going back to what you said, Jürgen, trying to get, play up high and Elanga drawing fouls and all that. On the flip side of that as well, we've got to be very wary of that, giving away too many fouls. We've got to be disciplined in defense and also in the defensive midfield side of things, because as we all know, James Ward-Prowse, from a dead ball situation, he is one of the best in the Premier League, and especially corners as well. He whips the ball places where dangerous places where it could cause us a lot of problems. And knowing Southampton, if they're going to let us have the ball, what they're going to do is they're going to try and lob the ball forward and force us into making those mistakes. Hence, trying to draw a lot more fouls closer to its Ward-Prowse's sort of ranges. And that's where we got to be worried. And also, we got to be careful about going a goal down, because I kind of see it United over the last couple of years. The minute we go a goal down, we start to lose focus. We start to forget what we've been asked to do, or forget what we were told to do, what we were taught to do, and we start to crumble. And it clearly showed during the Brentford game. That game, it's a game that we should have won. Yeah, we should have been 6 points up there. But I think we just cracked under pressure. I mean, of course, it was a really, really bad howler, two howlers by David De Gea, but that sort of put us in a very bad position. So I think today, I think that's one of the reasons that I really want to have the same back four. I want Malaysia to start. I also want Martinez and Varane to start, and also, of course, Diego Dallo. He also played very well, keeping Maguire out. And I would say, I mean, besides the antics that Bruno Fernandes has been doing over the last year or so on the pitch, which we all don't agree on, he actually did have a decent game. I wouldn't say the best of games, but he had a decent games. And what I actually saw in that game was the fact that he was in the box when defending. He was in the opponent's box when we were attacking. He was all over the pitch. He was playing the role of the captain. He almost created that chance for Ilenga, that which Ilenga should have buried that shot. And that's where I think if Bruno can just stay away from all the play acting and all of the frustrations that he has on the pitch, I think he'll be a good captain leading out that team. That's a very key fundamental. And for me, as much as I would love to see what's his name, McTominay back in there, he plays well in the big games, but McTominay has I would say a mistake in him in every game. Maybe one mistake, two mistakes. Now, those mistakes can hurt us very, very badly. One of the reasons that I really don't like him starting the game is because of those mistakes. I don't mind him coming in once we're 3-4-0 up and then coming in, try to settle things and put that calmness. But I think when he starts the game, I tend to be sometimes he's too cautious, or he does too much and sometimes loses the ball. This is where I'm really hoping Casemiro comes in, because Casemiro, as you know, as you've seen time and time, that they have been that he has been playing for Real Madrid, and as evident as going back and looking at the last season's Champions League final against Liverpool, he stuck in there. He cleaned up the defense, took the ball out of defense, sprayed it right in front. He gives that sort of cover, which is what we will need today with the physicality. He's quite decently built. He's got a great tackle in him. He may not be one of the best scorers, but he's got a great tackle in him, which is what we need. What we need is to help the defense, mop up the defense, mop whatever balls that come into there, and spray it forward so that the attackers can then now turn it into an advantage position and hopefully get a goal or two. I think that's for me, that's the key fundamental. If we can keep it tight at the back, if we can keep it pacey, and we can keep it really smooth flowing football, we will. I think we should win this very comfortably.
Yeah, Joe, because on the counter, if it's one-on-one, our players would outrun most of the Premier League, so if we clean up at the back and play those balls forward, 9 times out of 10, we'll have a chance at goal.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's pretty much what's really, really important for me is keeping it tight and keeping it tidy. Because if we get to probably the half an hour mark and we've kept it tidy, we've not gone a goal down, I see us going very comfortable. And that's one of the reasons, very importantly, we need to ensure that we keep it tight, and we have Casemiro start the first get into the starting lineup. That for me, that gives me much more assurance. I don't know what do you guys think? Give me some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I think him and Eriksen in that midfield, they bring that calmness that people like Fred and McTominay don't give you. So I think having them two in there, well, they can control the game, because one thing I don't see, the last couple of years is just controlling that midfield, and I think that's important. in any game, but especially a game against away from home, against Southampton, who are like they're gonna be up for the game. They've had an okay start, and I think we need to make sure we control that midfield. And also, I think with Eriksen and Casemiro, they're quicker when they get the ball to get it forward. Matt Tomley and Fred are just a bit slow sometimes, and by the time they've made the pass,
Correct.
all their players are back.
Yep.
The one thing I think, that'll be a bonus if they both play, is they are quick enough to get the ball forward. And as we said, with the front three, Sancho, Rashford, and Anga, they've got the pace to beat anyone on their day.
Correct.
So I think that's very important, is to get the ball to them really quick.
Yes.
And then, we should have a comfortable win, but it's about starting well and also having the attitude. I think the manager's mentioned a lot this week about the attitude being right. I don't know if you've seen his press conference. It's a lot he always mentions attitude. And I think that's very important, that we need to have the right attitude on the pitch. And I think, for me, if that's all right, we should have no problems beating Southampton.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. And I was reading the other day as well, the Brazilian national team. Casemiro actually said that having Fred in the team, playing alongside him for the national team, has done a lot of good. Fred is a more attacking style player. He starts to move the ball forward, and we've seen that as well. When Fred is forced to push himself forward and do most of the forward runs and the forward passes, he is so much better. Having that position moved forward rather than sitting back deep and trying to play the CDM role. So I think with Casemiro there, you would see Fred now trying to play up forward much more. And now again, here comes the big question: who does he replace? Because you've got Eriksen, you've got Bruno on one side. So who does he come in for? That's a big question that we've got to answer, because those are the two positions where Fred is more inclined in playing, where he's been more effective.
Yeah, I think so. So I've gone on that Fred. I think during the season, because we're going to have lots of games, I think it'll be a rotation between Eriksen and Fred. I think them two will be I think Casemiro will play most of the games.
Yep.
Especially with Europa League and probably Premier League.
Yep.
You haven't really got another CDM.
Yep.
But I think Fred and Eriksen, they might rotate. Even like Van der Beek and Fernandes.
Yep.
I think they'll and then Matt Tomley might come in for the odd big game maybe. But I think that's where I see them coming in.
Yeah, this is why I'm so against Darren, and I think you share the same thing, and Jürgen as well. The three of us share the same thing. When we was talking to Mervyn the other day about Gardner, we shouldn't be selling him. With Casemiro coming in, this is where Gardner will have a study under him if he's going to play in that CDM role. Which you can't have anyone better than Casemiro in that tutelage.
I just want to talk. Sorry, I know we've done transfers already, but the thing is with James, I know I've mentioned this a lot already.
Yeah.
But with James Garner, if you're going to sell him, at least try and get some good money for him. We're getting him for 14 million.
Yeah.
I'm not being funny. Have you seen Gordon for Everton? He's going for 60 million.
Exactly. Yeah.
Come on, James Garner has proven himself. In the Championship's a tough league.
Yeah.
And now we're selling him for peanuts. So 14 million. What's that going to get you?
Exactly.
So I know I'm just really annoyed about this. I know we haven't even gone yet, but I tell you now, I'm gonna say something now, right? In 5 years' time, we're gonna buy him probably back for 80 million.
Exactly.
I'll tell you that now.
It could even be 120 million, Darren.
Yeah,
I agree completely.
He'll go to Tottenham or Everton or wherever he goes, and he'll be one of the best players on the pitch.
Yep.
And everyone will want him in 5 years' time, and we've got him on our books.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna let him go for nothing. But that's my opinion on that anyway.
That's been our famous business practices over the last 10 years, Darren. Sell them cheap, buy them more expensive.
I'll tell
Same
you.
with Pogba as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And most of the players that we've let go, we should have got money for them. Lingard should have got money for them. We got nothing. Yeah. Zilch. A big egg. We got a big egg.
And then we paid 130 million for Wan-Bissaka and Maguire. And we're not even going to get half of that back.
No way. Exactly. You'd be lucky You'll be lucky, Darren. We even pay 50 million for both of them. You'll be lucky.
Yeah, literally.
Nobody.
Like, whoever's making these, like whoever's up there making these deals or whatever, you know, like how are they in this job? Because they're just completely just wrong. It's just like, oh, it's just so bad. I can't believe how bad it is.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
It's just ludicrous. I tell you, it's just ludicrous. The way we've done business, I tell you, because I was reading something the other day. We just can't offload Wan-Bissaka. Everyone's coming in and inquiring about him because of his wages. Yeah. It's a simple fact. I mean, getting the transfer fees one part of the problem. The second part of the problem is getting that interest for people to go out there and say, yeah, I'm willing to match that wages, because the player can, because he's under contract. So he can actually tell the club, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to play for that because he's not going to pay my wages. He's not going to match my wages. He's not going to go. And he's entitled to do that. Hence, going back to that factor of Phil Jones, we signed him on a big contract and we can't sell him.
Did you hear about the other week? They were saying they're going to rip up Ronaldo's contract. I'm like,
yeah,
how can you rip up Ronaldo's contract and you still have Phil Jones on the books? You know, that's just because you're going to have to pay Ronaldo off. Surely just pay Phil Jones off. I'm not sure how many years he's got on his contract.
Probably about 2.5 years.
Honestly, have some deal and just go, right, thank you, and just let him leave, because he's like, surely he wants, I don't know, does he want to not play football? Yeah, he's gonna regret. I think in 5-6 years he's gonna regret this. You know, I know he's had injuries, but as far as I know now, he's not injured now.
Yeah,
and he just wasted his career. It's just like he's getting good money, but for me, I'd rather want to be playing football.
Of course, exactly. But look, at the end of the day, his reasoning is going to be simple. Yeah, you signed a contract with me. Unfortunately, I got injured, and then I just never made it back to the team because there were people in front of me. I'm still working hard. I'm still doing what I could. I did play a couple of games here, but you can't blame me. But you still got to pay. And he's not going to say, "Oh no, you know what? I feel bad for Manchester United. You know, I'll just go. I'll take a pay cut and go." No, he's not going to do that. Why would he? Why would you? You wouldn't do that because that's a nice retirement fund there anyway. But the point is, as like what Jurgen said, and he stressed about it. Jurgen mentioned this a couple of times. He said it is the worst practice management of Manchester United that has caused this. Going back to the factor of why it's suddenly gone quiet. I'm hoping, you know what they say, the calm before the storm. I'm hoping the storm that's coming, that's literally going to force the Glazers to get out, literally. And hopefully, we all wanted Sir Jim Ratcliffe to walk in there and come in there and take over the reins, and hopefully we'll see those changes. Look, we can't undo all of those things that's done. We cannot, right? The only way that this is going to stop, and we're going to stop making stupid business decisions like this or stupid managerial decisions like this, from a management perspective, is if we get rid of the Glazers, we bring in fresh people with fresh ideas and fresh fundamentals to put the club back on where it's supposed to be doing majority of its job, which is on the pitch, on the field, development of youth players, and getting the best buck for the youth players, right? You saw the youth players that they brought in Liverpool last week. How good is that guy Carvalho? He's the one that caused the Salah to score that goal. That one mistake that we made, he's the one, because he wasn't afraid. He took a shot. How many players would do that? Well, unfortunately, I know one player that would have done that, which is very sad that we're not going to have him anymore, which is Mason Greenwood. He wasn't afraid even when he started playing for Manchester United. He wasn't afraid to take a shot. But see, this is the thing. They've got so many. They are preparing for the future. And here, like what Darren said, we are trying James Gardner, who's played well, and he played for Nottingham Forest, who's got promoted back to the Premier League. And we've had so much hope for him to play in that CDM role. We've not given him a chance. We're trying to sell him for basically pittance. That is probably what we're going to sell him for, what the bloody Glazers took out of dividends a couple of weeks ago for Manchester United. That's the problem.
Joel, the sale of Ghana doesn't even cover the dividends.
See, there. Jurgen's a financial guy, and he's seen it through straight upon. It doesn't even cover the dividends. How is that possible? Again, I reiterate this factor. Bad management practice, and none of these guys know anything about how to run a football club, and that's the problem. Anyway, guys, look, it's come to the end of the show. It was great. Always a pleasure, guys, talking to you guys. I love this. I love our football chats, and I get so passionate about it and get fired up. It's like it's an adrenaline rush. This is my best part of the day. It's every time we are going to go on a show, wherever I am, I'm rushing back and say, no, I need to get on because we're passionate talking about this beautiful club that we all love, admire, and we just want to see success. But boys, look, this discussion ain't over yet. Yeah, we still got to do the match preview, which we will see you back, and hopefully we'll get Charan here. Hopefully we'll get that discussion with him from St. Mary's. Jürgen, you got to do your magic, man. You got to wake that boy up and say, we are rocking around. We are with you on your journey to St. Mary's. Now, give us a big hello from St. Mary's. And you know what will be great? If we win that game and he can catch Cristiano Ronaldo and or Varane or even Casemiro for a quick hello and a quick chat. My God, boys, don't we all love that we were there? If we could teleport ourselves, we all would have done that.
Definitely. We'd be outside the St. Mary Stadium now, I think.
Yeah, we would have started camping from now. We would have had coffees, Darren. We would have been doing some little funny videos, Rodi Bar's funny videos. Remember that? Having some curry.
Yeah.
And then we would have had a ball of a time. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. It is great speaking to you, Darren and Jürgen. Alex tell us he had to go off. He sent me a message. He had to take his señorita out, but he said, look, I'll be back on later show. I think later in the show, we're going to probably get our new recruit, Mr. Charan, all the way in Manchester, where he will be on his journey to St. Mary's. As to what he has told me, we'll hopefully get some match reaction from him. We'll get some view of the atmosphere outside, and hopefully then talk a little bit about who's going to start and on the game. And don't forget, guys, we should be back here just probably 45 minutes to an hour before kickoff. So we will bring you the lineup as it comes out, and we'll talk through that, and hopefully gets more and more reaction. Right, guys, this is Joel from the Red Devil Addicts studio in Melbourne, signing out. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, and also follow us on our Red Devil Addicts YouTube channel. Please click a like on it, leave us a comment, and we will definitely respond to you. And we've got our news desk chief editor, Mr. Darren, who's keeping an eye out there. He's watching to see any latest breaking news, any signings that's coming in. He will be giving us some updates. He'll be getting some reactions and stuff like that. And he's going to get some comments from people that he knows. And hopefully before the game, we might have some more news to give you on the transfer side of things. But we will definitely bring you the match preview, and we will see what happens and enjoying the game. All right, guys. As I always say,
thanks, guys.
Have a day, a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, and a good night from the Red Devils Addicts studio here in Melbourne. You're with Joel, Darren, and Jürgen. See you boys later.
See ya.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.